It is the Mosley Show, and we got all kinds of stuff. We'll have breaking news. We've got Baylor information, some Baylor breaking news today. The Bears have added. Not in the – although, Kev, we do have some Baylor breaking news as far as a commitment. They did land a quarterback, so we certainly will get to that. There it is. Kevin Hoosier Hall with us as always.
Hello.
And we were monitoring. There he is. What's that say? What's that go? Oh, that's a Colts. That's a Colts cap.
Yep.
There was some kind of funny.
It's the old school font right there.
There was some interesting nugget about Shane Steichen. They have all the coaches are there for the NFL owners meeting, and somebody was asking, quizzing the coaches on like who is the highest coach drafted, who was the coach that was this, and whatever Steichen's was pretty funny. Like is an interesting background nugget, but it's not coming to mind. I'll find that. Give me another breaking news because this happened just a little while ago, and everybody's seen this. Kevin, you were just alluding to it prior to the show, and we've got some of the stuff from last night. I did watch, Kevin, if you want to see, like in my mind, I was like, okay, thank you for representing the Big 12, TCU. We'll talk about a little bit of the women's Final Four, but it was kind of like 49-41, end of three quarters. And you're like, hey, they kind of hung in there with South Carolina. Thank you for representing. What I watched in the fourth quarter was just total and thorough annihilation. Dawn Staley and her South Carolina Gamecocks, I mean, they went on like I think they outscored TCU 29-11 maybe, and TCU only got the 11 because South Carolina kind of finally caught off the dogs. It was like a fourth quarter of like, we're going to play around, we're going to make you guys kind of think you're in the game, and then we are going to drop the hammer on you. Kevin, you've asked me, like the stuff about the women's Final Four, and I know you want to talk about that today in like the separation of different seeds. Like it does seem like the 6 seeds are like so far from the 1 seeds. It's not even, they might as well be 16 seeds, right? Something about women's basketball. And you get to the Final Four, Kevin, it's like, what? Was it all 1 seed? I mean, it's like UT just blasted poor Michigan. That was a 1 seed versus a 2 seed. Michigan got beat 77-41 in that game. So this thought of like, sometimes we hear more parity. Oh, look, more teams can beat more teams. The very top is still like way far away from some of these other teams. Now, that was interesting what LSU, the Duke did to LSU. That's probably one of the more interesting outcomes.
Right. And what Virginia did along the way until they ran into,
Virginia was sitting there as like a 10 seed or something. And hey, Virginia is further proof. I brought this up the other day, Kev, that, if you got the money, you can come play, right? Indiana found the right coach, and then kind of the money followed. Sometimes the money has to lead the way.
Indiana football.
Correct. What'd you think I was talking about? Like I'm not.
I knew you weren't talking about basketball.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. So there you go. But it was and then so that game, the Texas game was and then TCU, man, I love Olivia Miles. I like Suarez. I like that team. I like what Mark Campbell's put together. But I can't just beat up on Baylor, right? Because they got crushed in the tournament, and they got kind of crushed by TCU in that last game at TCU, and College Game Day was there. If I'm not going to get on to TCU when it gets run off the court, or Michigan and all these other teams. So it happens to a lot of teams. All right. Kevin, today, by the way, I'm going with, this is LH for my local high school team. my beloved high school team.
Does it stand for local high school?
Yes. That would be a funny shirt. I would like a shirt that just said local high school. It's Lake Highlands, and I can almost see the stadium out the windows of my home studio.
Nice.
And it's a great, and the AD and the head coach is a great friend of mine. We hang out a lot. So it's a program. My daughter was the varsity cheer captain at that school. So I love it. And so when I get a chance to represent, I do that. All right, Kevin, but I was getting at something. All right, give me another breaking news, because
here we go.
This is
third breaking news in the first 10 minutes. I love it.
This is how I like to start a show.
Yes.
We've got to, Kevin, we've all seen it. I started to say this like 10 minutes ago.
I'm ready.
Mosley, can you stay more focused? Many people have tried, Kevin. One program director said, "Do you have like a mental governor or something?" I was like, what does that even mean? Okay. Many have tried. Many have failed. Kevin, you saw at the end of the UConn game, we were most focused on the shot. But after the shot, there's like a timeout.
Right.
And everybody's celebrating. And I love the Duke. I love the Duke broadcast. I meant to send that to you. The Duke.
Oh, yes, where they said, "Oh, that should be a technical foul."
Somebody ran out on the floor. It was like, okay, they never call that. But
there are a lot of things coming out because of the release of what I used for our edit of the shot, where they show every single angle in its entirety. Correct. So this is one of those. The other is Dan Hurley's mom just cussing like a sailor.
Yeah. And he was like, "You wonder where I get it." She was just like, "Holy effing S." I love all those camera angles.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Shocking that Dan Hurley's mom might use bad language, So Danny is celebrating with his coaches. Now, a lot of times in a moment like that, have you noticed that the coaches, I saw Sean Miller do it with UT, they're kind of fussing at everybody on the sideline, like, get back.
Yeah.
Danny kind of went ahead and let himself celebrate a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then as there's a timeout, and Roger Ayers, well known, and I saw Seth Roberts out there. Seth Roberts? What's Seth's the big Seth Davis? I'm sorry,
Davis. Yeah,
Seth Davis, the big CBS guy, was trying to say, well, Roger Ayers is known for being funny. They've probably known each other for years, and so he was trying to dismiss that weird interaction as just kind of them having fun. But if you watch the replay, there you go, Kev. Good. I didn't even tell you we were going to do this. See, Kevin, I don't need to give you a heads up on things. So there you go. And it was a weird, looking back, you're like, what was that about? Roger Ayers goes over, and we saw the quick exchange in real time, and then they slowed it down. And I don't know if you'd call that a bump or just a weird coming together of their heads. But Danny kind of got close. Roger is there. And then Roger, they say they have a little interaction, and then the referee goes on past him, and Danny goes back to continue the celebration and set up and get ready to defend that final attempt that Duke was going to make. It was a weird deal. Breaking news comes out earlier today. It says Roger Ayers, the official involved in a bizarre interaction with UConn coach Dan Hurley near the end of the Huskies' historic NCAA tournament victory over Duke, is not among the referees assigned to officiate the men's Final Four. The NCAA announced its 11 officials for the Final Four on Monday, one day after UConn rallied from a 19-point deficit to beat Duke. Specific game assignments were not included in the NCAA's announcement, but the list of officials did not include Ayers, a veteran referee who had officiated 7 Final Fours, including last year's. Now, this could be, hey, he's done it a bunch. He's had a great run. Let's let some other guys have a chance. But it seems to be being interpreted as something that had to do with that weird. And to me, that's not fair. It seemed like maybe that thing was initiated more like by Hurley. By the way, and it said it was not clear whether Hurley and Ayers exchanged any words during the incident, which has since gone viral. I mean, Kev, can you imagine? First of all, it was a weird interaction, like we're showing you. What if Ayers had teed him up? In some sense, I thought Ayers showed great restraint. What if in that weird interaction, I'm telling you, man, John, what's his name? The longtime Big 12 official, John, what's his name? He's very famous. You would know him, and he's done Final Four and championship games, and one of those games, of course, he's notorious for. John, why am I going blank on his last name? John, anyway, I'll think of it. Says ESPN Seth Greenberg said on SportsCenter that he spoke Monday with Ayers, who told Greenberg that, quote, nothing happened with Hurley. He added that Ayers literally didn't know what I was talking about and said the interaction with Hurley was, quote, absolutely nothing. He's made contact with John Gaffney in the closing seconds, was ejected from a regular season game earlier this month against Marquette after making contact with John Gaffney. Says UConn will play Illinois in the first Final Four game Saturday in Indianapolis. Of course, Michigan and Arizona will go later that night. That first game's around 5. Second game will be around 7:30 or so. Unfair to Ayers, it seems to me, if he's being kept out of the Final Four because of this. I mean, Dan Hurley walked straight at him. I don't know. Something happened. You can't just wave it off and act like nothing happened. There was something that kind of led to this strange moment. Man, it really seems kind of unfair to me if Ayers is out because of this. Now, Kevin, on another front, Ali Riaux, Riaux, R-I-O-U-X. How do you say that? French. Olivier Riaux, R-I-O-U-X. Florida's 7'9" behemoth center has entered the portal.
I believe it's just
today.
Rue. I believe it's just Rue.
Oh, good. Oh, that sounds right. Rue.
Yep.
Because some of those streets in Paris, it's like Rue, like R-U-E or R-U-E-S or whatever. Rue.
A lot of vowels, just one kind of sound.
Rue, R-I-O-U-S. Good for you, Kev. You're probably right. We've both traveled extensively internationally. Kevin's usually adopting children when he does it. I'm just kind of doing some sightseeing.
Tennis PA duties also help.
Olivier, that's a good point. Good point. Although I don't know how we got you today. I thought you were.
They moved things around just for me, just so I could be here.
That is shocking. We need to get Joey on if that actually happened and thank him. Hey, Ali Rue, 7'9", and I had people reaching out to me today. Could Baylor get him? And I said, wait a second. He had 7 points this season total. I mean, he doesn't really ever get to play for Florida except garbage time. I mean, other than be like the tallest man in the world, like kind of like the Guinness Book of World Records type guy, it'd be kind of fun to have him around, but I think Baylor's got to go get like guys that have been extremely productive. You can't be taking chances on 7'9" people. This kid needs to go to like a Division II school where they might throw him out there and let him play 20 minutes a game.
Or a Big Ten school.
IMHO. Okay. You know what that stands for, Kev? Have your kids taught you that?
In your own head.
No.
No.
IMHO, in my humble opinion.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Oh, God.
I mixed up the O and the H there.
Kevin.
But I know French.
That's right. You are our local. You're our local Frenchman. Golden had already said that whether he was going to play some good basketball, he didn't know if it would be for Florida or where it would be, but he was going to play some good basketball. Now, so that is going on. We also have the NFL coaches meetings. Kevin, what I didn't even tell you this earlier today. What I had tried to do is get us somebody from the NFL owners meetings. The problem is all our Cowboys people are waiting to see if they're going to get Jerry. So when Calvin Watkins of the Dallas Morning News told me, I'm not sure, rather than us like hold up the whole show, like waiting to see if we're going to get him or not, I said, let's just do it another day. All right. I made the executive decision to do it that way, which is fine. So we're not going to have anybody from the owners meetings today, but stuff's going on. With speculation continuing that the Eagles could trade wide receiver A.J. Brown with the Patriots, a top suitor. Mike Vrabel, the Patriots coach, didn't rule out the possibility Tuesday. Quote, and I don't, you're not really supposed to talk about other people's players, but whatever. Vrabel does what Vrabel wants to do. We've talked about this since last January. We're going to try to do everything we can to strengthen our roster through the draft, through free agency, Vrabel said. So anything that we can continue to do to strengthen the roster, we're going to try to do. On Monday, Eagles GM Howie Roseman fielded several questions about A.J. Brown's future with the team and responded with the same answer each time. Brown is a member of the Eagles. They're financially incentivized to wait until at least June 1 to strike a trade. The dead cap hit is more than $40 million if it trades Brown before then, compared to around $20 million after that. There's your answer. He will remain in purgatory.
Are you sure that he's definitely said A.J. Brown? Because they do have Hollywood Brown now. So if he just said Brown.
I believe we are talking about A.J. Brown, yes.
All right.
And that is who the cap thing applies to.
Yeah.
So, yes, thank you. Patriots released Stephon Diggs. They signed former Green Bay receiver Romeo Doubs. But as Vrabel noted Tuesday, the team remains open to bolstering the position. Vrabel mentioned other returning receivers on the roster, a group including Kayshon Boutte, Demario Pop Douglas, and 2025 third-round pick Kyle Williams. Quote, there's a lot of guys that we're excited about, Vrabel said. So there you go. He said, I'm not worried about the catches and the overall production. I think we can recreate that. We just have to be very mindful that the efficiency in which we throw and catch it is important. All right. So that is the efficiency we're talking about. And Kevin, we can save. I did want to say, I'll tell you what, we'll say it real quick, the breaking news part of this. And then what we'll do is talk about it more in Campus Confidential. Campus Confidential coming up at about 1:35 today. We'll see what Kevin has on his mind. But Kevin, hit me with the breaking news sounder. Man. And I'm always appreciative of all my Baylor sources, all my Baylor ties, because when something goes down, like even if I don't break it, like everybody's reaching out to me. Did you see this? Did you see this? This has come out. Now, the first I saw of this, Kevin, was Pete Thamel. We'll give proper credit. Pete Thamel, the big scoop meister when it comes to college football for ESPN. He had the report that Dave Harper, there he is. Hey, Dave, is going to be the new senior associate AD at Baylor, external, at Baylor. And he comes from Duquesne, and it will be mainly to do with, it's all about bringing in more revenue. It's overseeing all things, maximizing revenue. Now, he will be tasked with management of Baylor's NIL efforts. He's going to be, the way I had this explained to me is he can go hard and heavy at getting all these things, bringing in more revenue. He's been at Duquesne. He's been at Michigan. He was at Dayton. Has an interesting background. And I think the profile Baylor needed and was looking for is help with, Doug has said that over and over. We've got to look at every source of revenue. Now, David Kay has been sort of thought of as the czar of NIL. I think he'll continue to be a part of that, be a big part of that, and sort of the day-to-day, And again, he's also over basketball. He's a program administrator for basketball. David Kay is, but the oversight of all of NIL and revenue, and all of that, I think this will fall under this new guy, Dave Harper. Now, I hadn't talked to David Kay. I'm kind of looking at what they're saying about what Dave Harper's going to do, and I'm trying to kind of give you a feel for what's going to happen. I would say, if I understand this right, when it comes to getting revenue and getting huge revenue streams, Dave will come after one, and then Doug McNamee, see, this may free him up to be out there going after the big fish. We're talking, $5 to $10 million gifts. And revenue. This thing happened overnight, y'all. As we were getting ready to, 2021 hits and Baylor has that great football season. They win a national title. Then they go have a great football season. And then on top of coming out of COVID, then, the massive lawsuit happens. And then suddenly we have NIL. And I think most of us would agree, looking back, that Baylor tried to do it in this very Baylor sort of, we're going to do it in Baylor's way or whatever. Yes, Baylor can lean into its Christian background and its roots and what it is. And I think all that's very important. The rollout of NIL, and we can blame whoever we want to blame. Mac's not around anymore, so I guess just blame it all on him. It was not good. And then they tried to kind of make up for it and then come back, and you'll remember we pay players and all that stuff. And then we were going to have a bunch of fun with that. I don't think any of it was particularly great. Has Baylor shown the way and been one of the great leaders in the country in the field of NIL and transfer portal? The answer is no. They've had their moments. I'm not saying they've whiffed on everything, but I would not say Baylor's done, So anyway, Kev, we can get more into this in Campus Confidential, but I did want to give you that and just also say that he will maximize revenue. This is from the letter from Doug McNamee. And Kevin, I think I emailed you that letter, by the way, in case you want to look at that or use any of that. Feel free. I sent that to your email. I know I usually text you everything. I was really trying to send you a lot of stuff today, as usual. But I think what really makes Kevin happy is when I send most of it, moments before the show. I think that's really what he enjoys the most. Baylor is equipped with best practices to ensure effective and efficient utilization of our revenue distribution. This is from Doug McNamee. While Dave's track record, particularly in driving revenue, is incredibly strong, he is also an ideal fit for our university's mission, is well known across industry as a leader of high character and a fearless builder. It says something incredibly positive about Baylor in this moment that we can attract someone with Dave's pedigree to join our team. All right. So I've got good friends in the industry who would have been kind of working with Doug to kind of say, hey, this is, if you're looking for this is someone you should talk to. And so this has been, and again, this is not rise to the level of when we were trying to determine who's going to be the new AD, who's going to be the new defensive coordinator, who's the new blah, blah, blah. I get that. But this is interesting because NIL is enormous revenue right now. You've got to look into everything. I mean, and I joked with Doug. I mean, I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny. Kevin, I reached out to Doug and just said something along the lines of, well, you may be bringing this guy in. He can be the one to answer all the questions about alcohol. I've never seen more Baptists interested in getting alcohol at games. What are you guys doing? This is not what we are about. Goodness gracious. Slow your roll. I know you need revenue. I hope it's about revenue. For some of you, I'm worried you can't make it through a football game without alcohol. I'm concerned about this. And I'm sure the joke is, have you watched a Baylor football game lately? And I think that's a fair joke to make. But my goodness, we have spent decades going to these games and enjoying our games and getting to Dr. Pepper and having a good time. I mean, I'm hanging out at the press box, but for years I went as a fan, and I had the secret access because of my father playing at Baylor football to the secret. I knew the secret handshake to get in the Letterman's Association, the letter winners. But my goodness, I've never seen more people interested in trying to get alcohol at the games. One guy showed up at Doug McNamee's introductory news conference, a former Baylor player and former Baylor great who went on to play for the Ravens, Gary Baxter. Will you have alcohol at games? Anybody seen Gary? I don't know what's happened to Gary. Gary was running the local radio station recently, and they just up and it's like, wait, where'd Gary go? All right. Anybody sees Gary? If anybody's seen Gary, reach out to me. I'm just want to kind of see what's Gary's up to. Just kind of one day we just didn't hear from him anymore. All right. It is the Mosley Show. We do have major things to get into. And let me see if I've had any other breaking news come in. Okay. I did have some unbelievable news. Kev, one of my best friends from Baylor, who happens to be a board of regent at Baylor, he's going to get to have had to have everything happen just right. This is the greatest news. And I sometimes I don't know what I'm supposed to share publicly and what I'm not, but I'll be somewhat vague about this, and I won't give a name. But Kev, we've been waiting to see if the the bone marrow 21-year-old young man, generous and gracious and courageous enough. Just, I don't know what makes somebody decide I'm willing to give bone marrow. I don't think they get paid for it or anything like that. It's not like a plasma clinic or you get a few bucks for your blood. So anyway, it just turned out to be the right match. And my buddy who ran track at Baylor is everything's going well there with his cancer, and they're going to be able soon in the next week or so to do the bone marrow transplant. It all matches up. So if everything goes well, I mean, I think again, I still need to keep praying for this. But anyway, Kevin, I just kind of got that news recently, and I've been so excited about it. So I thought I would share a little bit in general what's going on there, because it's a great Baylor Bear that this is happening. He's been suffering through leukemia now for months, and it looks like there is some major hope that is coming. All right. Let's see what Kevin wants us to talk about. Okay, spring football. After we do Campus Confidential, we are going to hear some from Jake Spavital. We had an interview with Spavital recently, and people loved it. People are still talking about it. Like, God, that was a great interview with Spavital. And thank you for that. But Spavital now has seen the players in pads. He's seen a few days of spring practice, and the other day he spoke to reporters. And what Kevin and I are going to do is play some of that for you and react to it, okay? These are the best shows we do, when we just kind of boom, boom, boom. We have a lot of things to get to. We'll do that at about 2:05 today. Kevin, let's get ready now, though, to do what we like to call Campus Confidential.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. When it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. But with the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. If you get a call saying they're going to lock you in jail for missing jury duty unless you pay a fine, that's fake. Scammers use scare tactics to force you to act without thinking. Just hang up the phone.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
The reason that their service is outstanding because the people they have working, behind the desk, and the folks working out in the garage, taking care of business. And they give you a date, they give you a time, and they're spot on. And they're professional, they take care of it, and they answer all your questions, and they're fun to work with.
Like Alan Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Alan Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
At Schmaltz's Sandwich Shop, we don't just make sandwiches, we build them with fresh ingredients, bold flavors, and homemade baked bread every single day. Toasty on the outside, goodness on the inside. Schmaltz's Sandwich Shop in Waco is locally owned and operated since 1975 with 2 locations in Waco, Town West off Valley Mills and downtown off 5th Street. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or just a craving, we got the perfect bite waiting for you.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
All right, man, we got so much to get into. Stuff coming out of the NFL owners meetings. I've been to those several times in the past. We were going to go to Phoenix to speak with one of our many insiders who were there, but my insiders were waiting to see if they were going to get Jerry this afternoon, Jerry Jones. And of course, sometimes you don't know until the last minute. So I told our guys, hey, let's do it. Let's do it tomorrow, whenever. We do think tomorrow, Kevin, and this fits into Campus Confidential pretty well. Fran Fraschilla, longtime guest and friend of mine, and the lead Big 12 analyst for ESPN. He's headed to the Final Four, but he's got to do NIT practices all day tomorrow before doing the NIT Thursday, calling the NIT. And he's been doing the NIT for many years. He is going to leave the practice tomorrow to try to be on with us. So I got to nail it down by texting him in the morning, but we will most likely have Fran Fraschilla at either about 1:30 or 2 tomorrow. And that'll be good. A good Wednesday appearance from Coach Fraschilla, who has become one of the great analysts there at ESPN. That'll be great to have him on, and we'll look forward to doing that tomorrow. Now, the part of the show Kevin lives for, he canceled the tennis match today just to be able to be the architect of this fine segment. It is something we call Campus Confidential.
Yes.
What do you have for us, sir?
The first question is, did Illinois have the easiest road to the Final Four in history? Reminder, 14 seed Penn, 11 seed VCU, 2 seed Houston, and 9 seed Iowa.
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think when it matched up with number 2 seed Houston, now they obviously really gave it to Houston, although Houston kind of finally fought back there late. Didn't fight back as much as UConn did they? And I, you and I both have such respect for McCollum and what he's doing there and the kind of coach he is, and some of those players that were so fun in this tournament. I'm thinking of Fulgaris, and Sturts, and some of those guys. No, I would say that, that was a leading question. And it really sounds like you think they did have like one of the easiest paths.
I'm just gauging the internet. I find something that people are talking about, and then I'll serve it up. I don't think that. I think
you don't think so. Okay. Well, my answer is no.
I think that as I saw this listed out, they just tried to gloss over 2 seed Houston, and the fact that was actually in Houston just blocks from the campus. So I think that alone should say that no, they did not have the easiest.
By the way, I love this player. I mean, he's a playing dude.
Yep.
I mean, he doesn't quite get the attention that some of the other guys have gotten this season. And so now that they've reached this high place, he'll get the attention he deserves.
Yeah.
And the night game, the late game Saturday, does feel like the monster It feels like kind of for the national title. But let's not take away from that opener. I mean, after what UConn accomplished, after the way the Illini have looked, all those international guys, boy, this guy here, I don't know. I'm trying to envision exactly what he'll be like in the NBA.
Right.
Because with some of these guys, you just go, okay, there's your point guard, or there's your power forward, there's your small forward, there's your, you just kind of know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still figuring this player out. But I know he's great. I know he's a great player. And
is versatility really bad though?
No.
It doesn't maybe translate. Saying,
this guy is a point guard. This guy is for sure a shooting guard. No, I think it's fine. I think we're going to have to. What I want to study in him is like most big time, huge freshman scorers, for instance, don't really lock in on defense. Well, all I know is Illinois somehow shut down U of H. What I don't have a great feel for is like what kind of defender he's been throughout the season. So I'm kind of anxious to maybe take a little closer look in this game Saturday and see how he kind of locks in, because here's the truth. We can act like we're all draft nicks. He's a two-way player. He plays defense. He's going to be a good defender. He's a plus defender. When they're in college, we're not locked into that. Was I locked into how Darren Peterson was on defense this season? I was not. What we try to decide is if they in the future could be good defenders. I saw signs because Edgecombe at Baylor, I don't think he was some kind of great on-ball defender at Baylor, but he was way better than Rob Wright, and he could block shots, and he had elite athleticism, and he had great wingspan. So there were attributes that made you think he could be a good defender. Same thing with Yesufu. Most of the time, I didn't look at Tunde this year and go, whoa, man, great defender. But he had moments where you thought, yeah, because he's so built that he's a 6'5" dude that can probably defend at least 3 positions because he's just that thick and he's that athletic. All right, sir, what else do you have for me?
I would say the biggest problem that I've seen with Wagler is in the Iowa game, he missed several free throws. Or was that was Houston game? He missed several late free throws that kind of left the door open. Can't do that. You got to hit those.
Well, what
free
is
throws.
he? I agree, but what is he as a 3-point shooter like this season? What kind of percentage does he have?
Let's see.
And as long as this season he shot somewhere above 70% from the free throw line,
yeah,
I wouldn't worry about him having one off game. Fortunately,
right.
they had some wiggle room.
To me, it's more of the situational.
Yeah, but that's
those
okay.
late game free throws. That's why, like, when I coach basketball, I always have my my athletes shoot tired free throws. We're gonna run a whole bunch and then we shoot free throws because you never go to the free throw line fresh.
Let's not hold the young man to having one night of missing a couple of free throws. Now, what I wanted to look at is
3-point percentage is like somewhere in the 40% range. So yeah,
he's been great.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's fine there, and he's almost an 80% free throw shooter. So there's no issues there. The guy is 4.3 assists a game, and 5 rebounds a game. This kid's awesome.
Yeah,
this kid is awesome.
Right, and he's not getting nearly the attention that
correct.
Fears or Peterson or Kingston, Flemings, like any of these guys are. And here he is. Well, the only one of those left.
Which is dumb because one of those games earlier in the season, remember that one day where like Flemings went for 40, this guy went for 40, somebody else went for 40. He's like
probably Acuff. Yeah.
Acuff's more to me. Acuff, just because he plays for Cal, and he kind of gives off Iverson vibes.
Yeah.
And he's like crazy confident. Now, Fears is the best playmaker in a sense of like getting, I think, his teammates involved with those guys.
Yeah.
But this guy's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
I like Wagler. All right, what else do you have?
Well, going back to the setup of this, only 10.3% of brackets had Illinois advancing to the Final Four. I was one of those. And only 3% of brackets remained perfect after High Point beat Wisconsin. I was one of those too. So I could not find the percentage of brackets that had both Illinois advancing to the Final Four and High Point beating Wisconsin, but I had both of them.
Ooh. Whoa.
And I was only this shot away from having the entire Final Four aced in my bracket.
So in that moment, were you immediately frustrated, or was it such a great sports moment that you kind of, like most of us, celebrated and were kind of excited? What were your emotions right when that went through?
I was just floored in general as a sports fan to see that level of awareness, execution. Well, maybe not awareness on Duke's side, but to see that and to know he's from Indiana, freshman.
Yeah.
I was
so you
not
were excited.
Thrilled. I was not thrilled because I'm not a huge Danny Hurley UConn fan. But
who's a Duke fan? Most people are not Duke fans either. This is like,
agreed.
Which team do you hate least?
Yeah.
Kev, let me show something that I was a little bit wrong on the other day.
Okay.
Because now I've watched this thing a million times and I have a little better perspective. I tried to give Evans the benefit of the doubt because I kind of thought I thought this made it look like he was closer to Braylon than he actually was.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is, and Evans did two weird things in this late in this game. One, before I get to this one, I'm going to share.
Yeah.
One thing he did was, I don't know what they were doing on their inbounds. Evans is like a 79 or 80% free throw shooter. Evans is running away from the ball. Evans was one of those two guys, Gongba may have been the other one, that were back there waiting for Caden to try to throw it to him. It's like Evans is one of their great free throw shooters. He should have been Shire should have had him running at the basketball.
Right.
First of all, they get the ball in a bad spot. They do get it to Caden, but as we said, and boy, Jay Williams, I sent you that deal, didn't I?
Yeah.
I thought Jay Williams had an interesting breakdown. I don't always love him, by the way, but I thought he had a pretty good breakdown because he kind of said what we were saying in that Caden, if you're strong with the basketball, you catch that ball and you just hold it. You've got the 10 seconds. You can hold the ball and make them trap you or foul you. And if they set that trap, you could then jump up and make a pass over the top. He made some big mistakes. He dribbles. It allows them to get to him. Like there's just, again, like a horror movie. There were so many bad things happening. But let me get you to Isaiah Evans. I was wrong. The more I saw it from the other angle, not this angle, but from the other
side.
The side angle, he totally could have gotten a hand up. Now, I know you don't want to get caught contesting and somehow, and these people kick their legs out a lot of times. You don't want to get caught in that game because then you know, of course, it's like you got to give them that space to fall and all that. But by the way, officials need to get better about calling those dudes out for kicking. Not that Braylon did this, but too often they still kick. And they get rewarded for it. You're supposed to not get rewarded for kicking your foot. In fact, that's supposed to be a violation. The kick out, you're supposed to get called for that.
I also think that they need to stop calling moving screens just for a good quality screen. If the defender falls down because it was a good screen, That's not an illegal screen. That's a good quality screen. Anyway,
Yeah, unless they see the guy,
Right.
give it the old.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's what happens. If you give him a little shoulder or forearm, yeah, that's a moving screen. That's an illegal screen, I should say. This was bad defense. So I kind of let him off the hook the other day. If we're going to beat up on Caden Boozer, who is on the right in your frame, we got to get on to Isaiah Evans. It wasn't as egregious as what Boozer did, but I mean, you can't watch the guy shoot the game-winning shot in that stance. Like, there's no reason in the world that you don't get up out of that stance and try to challenge that shot. You really, even if you have, you're
several feet away and just
correct.
Yeah.
You've got to at least give Braylon Mullins something to think about. Braylon Mullins was delivered the ball on a gorgeous decision and play by Caravan. What I love about Caravan, too, Braylon did a nice job, by the way. Braylon gets that. Okay, deflection happened. Braylon gets the ball, doesn't try to dribble, gets the ball right to Caravan. Caravan does not panic and dribble. Caravan gets that ball right back to Braylon. Braylon had a clean look. Now, yeah, it was from 35 feet or whatever, but it was as clean a look as you'll ever see. And he shot it in rhythm. And as I said the other day, Kev, and we can all thank Duke can blame this on Seth Curry's brother. I say Seth Curry's brother because Seth Curry did go to Duke. His brother did not. His brother went to Davidson. But the whole world can blame that on Steph because Braylon Mullins, from the time he was in 7th or 8th grade there in Greenfield, Indiana, was taking these kind of shots.
Yep.
Not from 1909. As a kid, as you got stronger and stronger, Braylon Mullins learned how to shoot the ball from 23 to 26 feet out. So that this was not as wild a shot as it seemed. He shot that thing in rhythm. Right. And he shot it. That was a shot. Like, he's strong enough. This kid is a freshman.
Right.
Oh
this wasn't like a Gordon Hayward in the finals from half court, like on the run half court shot.
Correct.
He spotted up.
It was not even like our man Suggs, who I always want to call the football, but Jalen Suggs.
Yeah.
It was not even like that. I mean, so that was a lucky shot too. This was and I mean, look at the form. Look at that form.
Right.
That is a thing. But I hope Caden Boozer, and I don't know what'll happen with his future, and I think he'll be fine. I mean, but I hate it for him because his own brother made a really bad turnover right with a minute left. Okay, he was not the only one. Evans made some bad plays. I just cannot believe Duke coughed up. I mean, I guess I can and I can't. UConn needed they needed to do everything right, and they needed help. And the only thing they did wrong, UConn did, they actually missed that free throw. That was a big miss. And you thought, well, that's going to do it. That's going to do it right there, because they only got it to a 2-point deficit. He made one of them. And again, it's a great memory. It's a great reminder to, you, as long as you can lengthen the game, you don't think about missing on purpose unless it's about 4 seconds, I think, 4 or 5 seconds or less. 10 seconds, you keep trying to make those free throws. Now, in that game, or another game that day, golly, which one was it? Was it the previous game? There was one in this tournament recently. I think once we got Sweet 16, Kev, I saw a miss that I kind of liked. I saw the intentional free throw miss. It was a different kind of miss. A lot of times now you're trying to throw it hard left or right off the side of the rim. It's a hard one to execute.
Yeah.
This one I thought was a good one because it was a purposeful high miss off the front of the rim. I think it's hard to do, but I admire the guy. Now, the reason he did it, the reason he had to do it, sadly, is because he missed the first free throw. So then he had to try to miss it off the front of the rim. I did like the miss, though. I liked that strategy. All right, what else do you have for us?
Well, going back to women's Final Four, this is the first time since 2018 where you had all number one seeds as the Final Four in women's college basketball. What does that say about the current state of the women's game at this time? You kind of talked a little bit about it, but I wanted to open it up for your thoughts.
The chalkiest Final Four ever. It just makes it easier to fill out brackets. Now, what did I see too, Kevin? And I'll answer this, but like it said there's only been like a couple of times there's been repeat teams. What was that about? Is this the same group as last year?
No.
It says something about repeat teams.
Okay.
Maybe. Okay, I'll have to look that up again because I didn't think it was because I was trying to think who was in the Final Four last year. But I just think it's, first of all, you got to hand it to Vic Schaefer in that group.
It is. That is correct.
It is? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So it's good and bad. Like, here's the deal. We act like we want parity. And we act like oh my gosh, we can't have the Dodgers winning it every year. We can't have the Lakers and the Celtics. But when you look back and you look at the ratings and you look at the stuff, what people actually like are superpowers. The thing that's kind of fun about a dynasty is that eventually they get knocked off. See, UConn had to go out in the. Now, if we looked at how many straight, will you look this up while I'm talking?
Yep.
Would you look up how many straight Sweet 16s UConn has in women's basketball? Because I bet it's just ungodly. But what happened to UConn is that they went from sort of winning the national title pretty much every year to Baylor getting involved, and then like Duke, Notre Dame, Mississippi State, South Carolina has now gotten heavily involved. So I do think UConn finally caused some of these other schools to get after it and get with it and get up there. I got to say, here's what I wonder. Did the University of Texas, and I'm kind of answering your question with another question, Kevin.
All right. I love it.
Because I find this to be kind of a fascinating thing. Did UT have to leave the Big 12 to become a women's superpower? And not because, it was too hard for them in the Big 12. What I'm suggesting is, did getting in the SEC with the LSUs and the South Carolinas of the world, did that automatically make them spend way more money and do more in NIL and get better players because they got in the SEC? Now, Sherry Cole had a good run at OU, but she finally ended up getting fired, and they had to bring in Barancic. Well, OU got good this year. I mean, in not just this year, they had gotten good under Barancic, even when they're in the Big 12. They were pretty good. But they knocked off South Carolina this year, if I'm not mistaken. I think Oklahoma did upset. So I'm not saying that the Big 12 schools, I think TCU and Baylor and West Virginia are fine right where they are. But what I'm wondering is, what made UT get this good? And how much of it was it getting in a more competitive conference? Because let's not kid ourselves. The SEC in women's basketball is above the others. It's UConn is the only team that anybody cares about from its conference, the Big East, and then the SEC. And the other teams are just kind of trying to kind of raise their hand and get involved in all of that.
UCLA is there. Second time year in a row.
Has been great.
Right.
Has
and
been great.
USC, before they lost Juju last year, was right there.
Seemingly.
So,
yeah. But I just feel like it's like the Big Ten might have, still hard to think of them like that, right? USC and UCLA, but they might produce one. Yeah. But think about how good Michigan was this year, and that one young lady from Michigan. I was watching her before the game, and she put up unbelievable numbers this year. 20 points a game. She was great. Texas made them look like nothing.
Yeah,
and I got to say, Baylor. I can't, for the longest time, even when Nikki got there, because Nikki inherited some of Kim's players that first year. Well, two, great Kim players, at least 3 or 4 great players. But when I watched, I know, Kevin, sometimes you think, well, Mosley doesn't watch any women's basketball. I do actually, but not always. But when I do, sounds like the old commercial, Dos Equis. I was watching highlights last night of Madison Booker. And I've watched her kind of grow up in that UT program. And I did not understand why Vic tried to turn her into a point guard. It didn't make any sense to me. She's big. I mean, she's like, she's a wing. She's someone, yes, she can shoot the 3 and all of that, but like, why try to force? Well, one thing it did is just make her, and she still does weird things. She got caught one time trying to take the ball around her back, and she got the ball caught on her hip. Sometimes she gets a little too fancy, but her, like, and the only reason I bring up Kevin Durant, it's not, Mosley, you can't talk about women's basketball and bring up men. The only reason I do it is because he went to UT.
Yep.
She did some things last night that like made me think of Durant. And I know there are 2 different games and all that, but it's just awesome when you see women's basketball player that can dribble around the 3-point line and then basically stick a jump shot from 20 feet while falling away. That is unusual. That is highly unusual. And I had him on one day on my radio show over at ESPN Central Texas, Kev. I had the old UT athletic director on, Chris Del Conte. And I made him mad because he just hired Vic Schaefer. And I think I made some kind of suggestion that, he had to hire Schaefer because they couldn't beat Mulkey. They couldn't beat Baylor. And boy, that's not why I did it. That's not why I made that move. It's absolutely the reason. Because the woman who had been there, and she's the coach at UTSA now, Karen Karen Aston, like Aston, I think it was. She was a good coach. Texas was fine, but Kim beat them like a drum for like a decade. They had no chance, or maybe like 15 years. And he brought in Schaefer because he got sick of getting beat by Baylor. Well, then it all went haywire. Kim leaves. They go to the SEC. It's a whole different deal. But man, that guy, there's some great coaches out there. So again, I was glad you brought that up because I just kind of wanted to talk women's basketball in general. I enjoy it. I think we function better as a society when when they're back to being monsters, though. Like when they're the ones everybody's the most scared of is how we function best as sports fans. And Gino still can get it done all these years later. And the one thing I will say, and I told somebody this the other day, is big. I may have said this to you. As much as we all can't stand Dan Hurley to a certain extent, I think it's cool that Dan Hurley, when he gets on a podium, he always credits Gino and Coach Calhoun and Kevin Ollie. Like he doesn't make it all about himself, even though on the sideline and all that, it does seem a lot about Dan Hurley, right? but he at least says it was Gino. It was Jim Calhoun, which I think is kind of cool of him to do. Now, what did you find when you looked up how many straight Sweet 16s UConn has?
32.
Even more than the national titles. To me, that is one of the greatest. That's one of the greatest stats in the history of sports, period. Doesn't matter. Women, men, 32 straight sweets. Oh, by the way, Samson, you'll like this. You're the only Samson hater out there other than the other Indiana knuckleheads.
Exactly. There's a large contingent of us, but yes.
He did not get enough votes to get in the Naismith or the whatever we call the Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's too bad.
Even though next year he'll be going for his 8th straight Sweet 16. In the men's game and the women's game, I mean, obviously nobody will ever catch Gino. But 8 straight? Wow. I would like to look, by the way, I can't remember how far Kim got in her first year at LSU, but I would like to look at how many straight Sweet 16s Kim either had or has. But I don't know what happened to her in her first year at LSU. Nikki, by the way, has taken the Bears on her own. This was not with Kim's players. They did go to a Sweet 16 in Nikki's. I can't remember now if it was her second or third year. They did make it a Sweet 16 because they played UConn and played them pretty well. I think in stores, or where did they play them? Not in stores, but up there in that area. All right, what else did you have?
That is it. She has 4 in a row. She had 11 consecutive with Baylor, but in between there had a gap. So 11 straight with Baylor.
So she didn't. She maybe her first. Yeah, but wait, you're saying she hasn't been in the Sweet 16 every year with LSU or
LSU?
Not? What was her first?
4 straight with LSU. I don't know when did you probably know when she started there.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. Let's make sure those aren't. Are you saying there's a season she didn't make it to the Sweet 16 from when that started at Baylor to LSU?
Right. Yep. There would be
so that would have to be her first season at LSU.
First season at LSU, she didn't make it.
2022 season.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. All right. Kev, between the two of us, there's almost no answer in life. And Google.
Yes.
It's the Mosley Show. And I promised this earlier. I think we're going to enjoy this, especially our Baylor folks. I had a really good. I talked to Jake Spavital the other day at Baylor Pro Day. We had a really good visit. Oh, okay. And we didn't even do this during our 45-minute episode right there, a 30-minute episode of Campus Confidential. I've got breaking news. Baylor has landed a big-time quarterback. I'll give you some information there. And we'll do the breaking news sounder. And then we will hear from Jake Spavital. I just thought it was important for us to listen to what he had to say the other day, and then we're going to react to some of it because Baylor's about to throw. This is the biggest football haymaker Baylor's ever tried to throw. This is 1 year to try to save everybody's rears. That is next.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same-day or next-day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
Enjoy a quiet atmosphere with beautiful river views at the Brazos Landing, located in Waco along the Brazos River across from McLean Stadium. Enjoy homemade dishes like shrimp and grits, chicken piccata, braised short ribs, prime New York steaks, and more. Plus, enjoy a delicious dessert like creme brulee or key lime pie. Open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday. Brazos Landing in Waco, the only place where I-35 and the Brazos River meet.
Lake Waco Golf Club is a semi-private facility nestled along the north point of Lake Waco, one of the few facilities in Texas to have a full 18-hole regulation golf course as well as an executive 18-hole par 3 golf course. Plus, check out their bar and grill, which is open to the public. And if you're not a golfer, then enjoy time by the pool or even enjoy fishing around Lake Waco. Become a member today and call to book your tee time. Lake Waco Golf Club, where family and friends fun begins. Check them out at lakewacogc.com for more information.
At Schmaltz Sandwich Shop, we don't just make sandwiches, we build them with fresh ingredients, bold flavors, and homemade baked bread every single day. Toasty on the outside, goodness on the inside. Schmaltz Sandwich Shop in Waco is locally owned and operated since 1975 with 2 locations in Waco, Town West off Valley Mills and downtown off 5th Street. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or just a craving, we got the perfect bite waiting for you.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NordVPN.com. Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's KITBAG.com. Kitbag.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
At Tusain's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
There I am. The Mosley Show continuing on. And I mean, it's there's a lot going on today, and there's Baylor stuff, and we talked about Dave Harper, the new he is the new Baylor senior associate AD, and he'll be in charge of revenue. He's going to oversee NIL. And I think it's a big hire. And I mean, revenue is the name of the game. And this is, man, I keep getting good recruiting news. There he is. Dave Harper. And comes from Duquesne. He's been at Michigan. He's been at Dayton. He's got and we got a letter, all of us in the media, and I think people like myself that are Baylor alums may have received this letter as well, from the desk of Doug McNamee. Doug, I just prefer like a private letter, okay? Do I have to have the same letter as everybody else? Dave will be tasked with management of our NIL efforts, both in driving and maximizing revenue, as well as ensuring Baylor is equipped with best practices to ensure effective and efficient utilization of our revenue distribution. All right. But will there be alcohol at games? That's all anybody cares about these days. Golly, when did we get so into this alcohol? I'm worried about some of our thoughts on that front. Kev, let's do a breaking news for the Baylor, the recruit that they've landed. I think it's appropriate. The young man from, I believe, Woodville, Texas, 6'3", 200-pounder, 4-star. He had been committed to Vandy, the land of Diego Pavia, Heisman finalist, but he decided, I'd rather be a Bear. All right, he'll be going into his senior year this year, so he would be part of the 2000, what does that mean, 2028? I don't know. It's so far in the future. I mean, we're kind of day to day here on the Mosley Show. But 4-star quarterback Luke Babin, Babin. You say Babin, I say Babin. I'll get to the bottom of that. We'll make sure we get that right. Has committed to Baylor following his unofficial visit this past week. He totaled this past season 3,600 yards and 47 touchdowns this past season. My gosh. Goodness gracious. There he is, Kev. Good job getting that up there. The Luke Babin. I kind of like to say, I like saying Babin, Babin, but we'll do it however the young man wants us to do it. 4-star recruit. And then, Kevin, I saw this from Grayson Grunhafer as well. This was kind of exciting because this is a legacy player. Denton Geyer, 2028 wide receiver. Tristan Shelton will be at Baylor for an unofficial visit today. His dad is former Baylor wide receiver Trent Shelton. His grandfather, I used to see Shelton's dad at the games, and he would get the crowd fired up, and he'd be down there behind the sideline, and he was awesome. He was awesome. I still feel like Trent Shelton should be playing, but that had to be so neat for Trent Shelton and his son to be out there at a Baylor. Looks like they had a walk throughout the stadium here recently. But Tristan Sonic Shelton, love that nickname. He'll be on an official visit today, according to Grayson Grunhafer. Again, his dad helped along with Dominique. They had two receivers that I really liked on that one team that finally Baylor hadn't beaten A&M in forever. And then under Guy Morris, circa about 2005 or 6, I think Sean Bell may have been the quarterback on that team. They broke through and beat Texas A&M. And it was Trent Shelton was on that team. And Dominique coaches in the area now. He's a high school football coach. And he played for the Indianapolis Colts, Kevin. I'll think of it in a minute. Okay, sometimes these things get away from me. He's a really good player for the Bears, wide receiver. Anyway, he's the one who caught the ball to beat the Aggies as Baylor ended its long time. They had tied A&M in 1990, but they had not beaten the Ags in a good while, and they finally broke through right around 2005 and beat the old dreaded Aggies. And the Aggies would leave in shame several years later to go to the SEC. Not because of that, probably. All right, Kev, let's and by the way, you can, if you're watching us right now on Twitter, I usually put the link out. I didn't do it today. I apologize. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube. We have been steadily climbing in our numbers, seeing more and more people jump on there with Kevin's help. We have really grown that YouTube, and we've done it without any help. I mean, we got help because we got great support from Rogue, but I'm saying I haven't had to reach in my wallet to kind of juice the numbers. All right. It's been all organically done. Just Mosley fans, Mosley supporters, and we appreciate everybody who has subscribed. So please go and subscribe to the YouTube. How do you look it up? Just go to YouTube and search Matt Mosley, Mosley. All right. Somebody sent me a wedding invitation. One of my very close friends recently, and they misspelled my name, but that's okay. That's okay. I get past things like that. Mosley is how you do it. Let's Kev, let's do this. I asked Kevin to, and we're going to kind of, Kevin, hopefully you'll be able to hear me as this is playing in case I want to kind of jump back in. But I wanted to share a little bit of what Jake Spavital, because we had Jake Spavital, the Baylor offensive coordinator, on recently. And he was very, very good on a number of topics, one of which being what he felt like it was going to be like to coach DJ Lagway. And he was very open with us about how much he wanted to run the ball with DJ Lagway. He's not going to beat him up. He's going to protect him, but he knows that can be a huge weapon. And let's remember, when he was the coach at A&M and he had Johnny Manziel and Johnny wins the Heisman and all that, a lot of those weren't even designed runs. A lot of that was scrambles. And they think not only can DJ scramble, but when they want to go quarterback power, like what Fernando Mendoza did in those huge decisive moments in that national title game, well, that was a quarterback power. That was a call, a straight up call. Was that a fourth down play, Kev? I think it was. And he found himself standing in the end zone 10 yards or 12 yards later, however long it was. It was awesome.
Yes, it was.
Kevin, that's what they want to do. They want to be able to do that. Because guess who coached, Kevin? Fernando Mendoza at Cal Berkeley.
Was it Jake Spavital?
None other than the great Jake Spavital. All right. Jake became a head coach at Texas State. Didn't totally work out there for various reasons, and he never makes excuses, but he's back, and we appreciate Jake. Jake watches our show, and we've got a really good relationship with Coach Spavital and his whole family. Great family. Okay, and we like Coach Clanderman. I mean, the whole group. Jacory, I saw Jacory and Keenan Hall the other day. Really good staff. We had Jacory Greer on, and then we had who's the former Baylor? He's the Baylor linebackers coach. I'm not thinking about Jacory. He's the linebackers. Anyway, he's good too. Let's check in with Jake Spavital, and this was Jake after practice a couple of days ago. And I want to play some of this, and then we'll stop and react to some of this as well. Here is Jake Spavital meeting with the reporters a couple of days ago.
In camp, how are you feeling? How is DJ progressing?
Yeah, practice 3 today, first day of pads. All right, so really the first 3 practices, I've kind of done a different approach where I'm actually throwing more concepts and more motions and operational things than I've ever done before. Practice 1, they were pretty good with it. Practice 2, they kind of hit a wall, but they responded today, especially with the pads on. And all I'm asking to do is just be consistent, show up every single day, and just give your best effort and just learn from your mistakes. And overall, collectively as a unit, you're starting to see the strides. It's a brand new team. We got a lot of new O-linemen, a lot of new receivers, new quarterback. So you got to build this continuity up. You don't know what some of these guys are capable of doing. I don't know if we're going to be a gap scheme team, an outside zone team, an inside zone team yet. And we're throwing it all at them, and they're handling it pretty well. When it comes to DJ, DJ's great. You can tell he's played a lot of football. I think it's around 20 starts that he's had in his career. So especially in the SEC, I think he handles a lot of the communication really well. They did a lot of that at Florida. And you just see the anticipation and the poise that he has just back in the pocket. And, I just think over the last 3 practices that we've had, I've had all sorts of different types of throws where you can layer the field, and he's got an elite arm. which is going to be fun to watch some of these deeper concepts come in. But, overall, DJ is handling it well. Just how he is around the players. Is just a very mature, professional guy.
You kind of answered it there, but what are some things that have surprised you about DJ so far?
Yeah, the anticipation is the number one thing. It's just when you're in the SEC for 2 years, like you just see like that the timing, the pass rush is very important, and the way he can cancel out reads and get to that next one is pretty elite right now. But I just, you can throw a lot at him, like a lot of communication. There is no panic. There's just a lot of poise. Like he just makes sure that everybody, like, and if it is screwed up, he knows that he can just live with something. And, he'll tell you like, hey, I just didn't want to mess with it. I just was going to get the ball out front side. And that's just a sign of just a ton of experience. But having fun with them right now. I love this group already. I think they're a bunch of great men out there, and just watching them kind of interact and take the coaching and try to kind of develop the identity that they're going to be. That's another thing I preach to these guys is we got to have an identity of who we are when we leave spring. And I'm not trying to scheme up anybody. We're playing more base. Like every receiver's playing inside and outside. The tight ends are out there running routes, and we're just really kind of building a resume of everybody to see what they're capable of doing, so we can have a general idea. I want to get through these first 6 practices before we get to Easter, and then probably start packaging some things, just so we will have a little bit of a direction moving forward into the summer.
Kev, hold on a second. I don't know how you can't hear that as a Baylor fan and not kind of be excited. Obviously he wouldn't come out and go, oh, he's not doing very well. But the anticipation, the processing, how quickly he goes through everything, they had to really ramp up Sawyer for a while, because Sawyer arrived without having played hardly at all at Mississippi State. And then he got thrown in because of an injury to I guess it was Shapen at the time. And it was sink or swim. And eventually, obviously, he became a really good quarterback. But it was just, you had to go through those rough times. Here's the hope here. And here's what I hear when I hear Spavital saying those things, is that those growing pains occurred for another team. Those growing pains happened at Florida. He's talked about some of the things happening in Florida, how the way he was treated, how he didn't go to class because, he had to do everything online because he couldn't go to class because everybody knew who he was and all that. I think he's far more comfortable at Baylor. Now, again, it doesn't mean he can't go. He's, people are going to be highly critical of him if he goes out and plays poorly. So he'll have to continue to try to get better and better and learn how to process all that. But the other day, Kevin, I think I said this on the show, I don't know. Sometimes I think, did I say this to somebody? Who did I say this to? But my thought was, I was interviewing Sawyer, and it was kind of like joking with him about, did he, same frame? Did you have the same frame as DJ coming out of, and Sawyer knew I was kidding, because Sawyer is thin and he's gotten bigger and put on weight and all that kind of stuff. But like DJ is a different looking dude. We're talking 6'3", 6'4", 235, carries it well. Maybe wants to get down actually and play at more like, 225 or something like that. But he's just massive. And the only thing we have in recent years to compare it to, RG3 was a tall guy, had great size, but he was still somewhat slight of frame when he showed up at Baylor and kind of had to add some, and he'd go over there, didn't know how to slide, didn't always get out of bounds, and he'd get tackled like a ton of, just like, it was just like watching House of Cards over there. Like, Robert, get out of bounds. People are going to hit DJ Lagway and actually get hurt because of the way he's built. So the biggest thing we have to compare it to, Kev, is Gary Bohannon Jr., who came out of little town in Arkansas and was a massive dude. That's the only thing I can compare this to in terms of physicality, the way they look. And Gary could throw the deep ball, and Gary could run. There's a lot of things that Gary and DJ, there's some similarities. But nor Sawyer, nor Gary, nor probably even Shapen, even though he had that baseball, he did have a live arm. There's nobody since RG3 that's had this level of arm strength. You know, what made RG3 different, it was accuracy, it was speed, leadership. It was a huge part of the package, but also obviously being in Brazos' offense. Now, the good news is there's a lot, what Brazos was running and what Jake Spavital is running is not like polar opposites. There's a lot of things involved. What Jake is about to do with this quarterback is to give him a lot more what you call choice routes. And that's, the receivers understanding what their leverage is, where they are on the field, and then the quarterback being able to read that. And that's why when you hear Jake Spavital talk about he loves the anticipation that he's seeing from the quarterback, that's what he's talking about. That he knows where everybody's gonna be. Again, these routes are a little different. Bryles' offense was based on everything being spread out a great deal, almost as kind of sideline to sideline, spread you out sort of thing. And receivers obviously put up enormous numbers. I would not say the route tree was overly complicated, which is probably why you didn't see many of those receivers make it really translate to the NFL. And Spavital is a little bit of a hybrid, a little bit more of a pro style than that form of what Bryles was doing. His air raid obviously is a little more like the old Leach air raid, Dana Holgerson. It's that tree. All right, Kev, let's continue with what Jake Spavital had to say at spring practice the other day.
I guess how with all the new pieces, you don't have Sawyer, you don't have Tree, you don't have all these people that knew your scheme. How hard is it to teach all these new people everything new?
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It is, but like last year, like Sawyer and I were on the same page, and like we had a lot of returning, players, and I just loved everything about that because I didn't have to do as much. We can just kind of fine tune some things and tweak it. Now, like we're back out there on the grass coaching like even harder and teaching these guys the day one install that Sawyer had mastered down so many times, and that's the part I love about just kind of a new group of men that come in, and it's their opportunity to make a name for themselves. I thought that group, the past 2 years of having two top 20 offenses here and the success that they had, and Sawyer having an opportunity to go get drafted right now and going through the process. Sawyer was running around out there today. It was just fun seeing him, and but it's time for the next people to step up and make a name for themselves.
Nate Bennett, I know DJ takes up so much oxygen, it seems. How is Nate Bennett kind of living as, I guess, the number 2?
Yeah, Nate's awesome right now. Again, he's been with me for 2 years. He knows how I think. I don't have to say much, to him. He normally, if he does make a mistake, he's already telling me the corrected answer by the time like he actually walks off the field to me. I think he's got a talent. He's a talented kid. I think he's got a great arm. And he's kind of putting his spin on how he wants to run the offense a little bit. And he's one of the more experienced guys I have, and I feel completely confident putting him in the game and letting him go.
The offense has always been a strong point for this team, especially since you've came on. With a bunch of new people, is the expectation still there to be a top-tier offense like that?
Oh yeah, I tell them all the time that it may be new faces, but the standards stay the same. And I preach a lot about just really identity and playing for each other, selfless play. And I think that's something that you have to kind of hammer home is making sure that this is a really close group and the continuity is there. And because when adversity starts to hit, they got to trust each other. And I started preaching that a ton in 24 here. And I think when we got halfway through that season, you kind of saw it flip and how well they played together. And that's something that we're working on daily right now. Coach Aranda does a great job on hammering culture down with these guys and understanding the importance of being a great team player and a great teammate. And, once they grasp that concept, the rest, if they're going to play hard and play for each other, great things will happen for them.
Going from Sawyer to DJ, how much is the offense going to look different, on Saturdays? Is there going to be a slightly different identity, or?
Yeah, possibly. I'm trying to, you're going to see all the plays that we ran last year. Those are normally your day one install and trying to get that going. But this is also an opportunity to challenge them and see what they're capable of doing. And like I was saying just a minute ago about DJ and his arm strength, there's not very many QBs. I've been fortunate to coach a lot of good QBs, and the arm strength, he's one of the top ones I've had in terms of how he can stretch the field vertically. And you're going to see a lot more probably kind of down the field post or field throws that I haven't done much of lately. So you could see that element. We got a new O-line coach with Coach Woods. He does a great job on, it was at Oklahoma for the longest time, and you're seeing some new kind of, twists with our run game. And I believe with him and Coach Hall and what they're doing in the run game and how they're on the same page, I think you're going to see a better continuity up front than what we've had over the past 2 years as well.
All right, stop for a second. Kev, that right there, extremely important. The continuity up front, they I mentioned this earlier today. He had said to us that there's a lot of stuff he can do with DJ in the run game, and that can be a big threat for the Bears. I mentioned it earlier, even with him having coached Fernando Mendoza and seeing how important that had become. But you heard him with talking about the O-line, the coaches involved up there. He met Coach Hall as Keenan Hall. He's talking about his running backs, and he was talking about the Baylor's new O-line coach as well. For whatever reason, and it happened before with the Bears, where the run game just left them. And last year, just so much pressure was on Sawyer. And you saw moments like the year before, and Bryson got going and Dawson got going. And you thought, man, this could be great. Well, Dawson got hurt before the season. Bryson was hurt a lot and had a concussion issue, and then ended up transferring to Auburn. Boy, that's another topic I'd like to visit with you about at some point, is Baylor, some of the injury stuff. I have some thoughts on that. Very, very interesting to hear him talk about what they're going to try to do. I just think there's been a huge frustration from Aranda, from Spavital, from former O-line coach Mason Miller. There had been they were not getting the job done up front. You go, well, Matt, do they have the horses to do it on the O-line? I don't know yet. We'll see if it comes together. O-lines are sometimes kind of like bullpens. Sometimes you don't know, and then it comes together great. Sometimes you think you got a good one, and it's not good. Last year, they thought they had a good one. They had Colton, who's now at Kentucky, in the middle of that thing, playing center, and Kentucky paid him a bunch of money in Baylor, and I credit them for this. They did not think the player – I think they gave him a very competitive offer, but they weren't going to pay him close to $1 million or $800,000 or whatever Kentucky ended up giving him. They got the Siraki brothers, and we were just talking to yesterday, our interview with Ibedion, talking to Omar Ibedion about that. I mean, they got some good guys coming in. They got some guys in the portal. I do not know, but it is good to hear Spavital talk about like what it could look like, with the with what they're trying to do in conjunction with DJ Lagway. The thing I've never been able to get out of Spavital or anybody or Aranda, and maybe I just should have pressed them a little harder on it, why they didn't utilize Sawyer in the run game. He was very capable. He's fast enough. He's athletic enough. And it may have just been they just were trying to preserve him. I don't know. Or he may have had something that we never totally knew about. They are not going to take that approach with DJ Lagway. Yes, he's had injuries. He's overcome them. He's been great in the weight room. He's been great in his conditioning. He's going to play at about 6'3", 225. And I think he will be imposing to the defenses they face. All right, Kev, let's do a little bit more of Coach Spavital.
Being able to go vertical a lot, and then just what does that chemistry built up? What does that look like so far?
Yeah, Lewis Brown looked phenomenal today, and I got to keep on him because he's got potential to be a really special player. And I think when DJ kind of takes the field and the experience that he's had and who he is as a person, and the hype, I think he brings some excitement in that receiver room as well. And, you have like Draylon Miller and Gavin Freeman out there as well, and Jaden Porter and Taz Williams, and you got some guys that are moving around in a lot of different positions. But, I think DJ takes a lot of quality time in trying to build that relationship. They all vacation together on spring break. They're all going to dinner. They're all hanging out because DJ understands the importance of the locker room and how everybody needs to be on the same page and playing for each other. So that's going to be a fun kind of little test to see of just how these receivers develop. I'm putting them in some tough spots because I got to see what they're capable of doing, but just going back to Lewis Brown, I think that could be a pretty good connection that you could see in the future.
Trigg was a different beast. But, can Klopp replace him at all, or is it Tony? Or?
Yeah, Klopp he's probably the most reliable guy I've coached in a long, long time. You might see some more packages with Tony coming here as well, and how much I believe in Klopp. You're going to see a lot more 12 personnel as well. And I think I'm going to be a little more multiple with the personnel groupings as what I've had in the past. Here, last year, I thought we were very dynamic with our speed at receiver and Trigg. And I played Trigg more as a receiver because he was a matchup nightmare. And there's not very many tight ends that I've ever been around that have that ability. But I think Klopp and Tony are really good. I think Hawkins Polly's doing well. And I think you're going to see some pretty good packages with those guys going forward. But with Klopp, I feel confident putting him in the game and never taking him out.
With Dawson coming back, what's it like having him back in the fold? And obviously with Bryson not being here, you expect Dawson to kind of pick up the slack there? Or do you expect him to play?
Yeah, I'm fired up for Dawson being back. Just the unfortunate turn of events that happened in fall camp of last year, just to see the journey that he's been through. And just the opportunity to get back out there on the grass and watch him run around. We're still easing him into it because I know what he's capable of doing. Obviously the departure of Bryson B-Wash was tough, but we have some really great backs. You have some experienced young running backs with Caden Knighton and Mike Turner that just watching Coach Hall work with those guys and develop them, they're going to be a lot better than what they were last year. So when you have Dawson and Mike and Caden, it's a pretty good group, and we've got some guys like Riley Morris in the mix now who's done a lot of great things. So we got some weapons back there. We just got to keep, working where they're very comfortable with DJ because injuries do occur, unfortunately for Dawson. But I do think that experience and the leadership of Dawson does help those young guys as well. So it's a really tight group right now.
All right. I good stuff, Kev. I and appreciate the turnaround on that. I mean, it will Pendergrass back there. Would have loved to have seen him with Bryson. I just think that it's if you have a few talented running backs, and they do, they've got about 4 deep in that area, especially with the freshman showing up on the scene, Raylan, the kid from Honey Grove. You can't be paying, even though Bryson has had great moments, and who knows, he may end up in the NFL or something. You can't pay these guys $1 million. You can't pay a running back that. I'm not saying it doesn't happen elsewhere, and who knows what Auburn gave him. But I think the Bears certainly would have loved to have held on to him, but there was an injury history that's different than what happened to Dawson. I think they think physically everything. I think Dawson is going to come back. He's going to be stronger. Remember, they've got Michael. They've got Rylan is who I should have said. I said Rylan. And then they have the other back, number 22. It's a pretty deep group, but I think Baylor, if this, and I kind of like something Spavital said recently, and I can't remember if it was to me or where I saw him say this, but where I saw, that like he's a coach's son, and maybe as media and fans, we overrate this idea of like, oh my gosh, hot seat. They sort of live. He's been fired at Texas State. He's had to go get other jobs. He was at Cal. Then he came to Baylor after the whole staff almost got fired, after the 2023 season. So they don't think like everybody else. They know that it could go south at any point. This is the profession they chose. And if you get high enough in it, you make enough money to kind of offset some of these things that could go wrong. And, Spavital is probably one of the higher paid offensive coordinators in the Big 12, I would think. So he gets it. Kev, good stuff there. It is time for the landing. We got to say goodbye for the day. We always talk about the Brazos Landing. I love it. I mean, the burgers, the fries, the bang bang shrimp, the different seafood dishes. It's just so good. So good. You get a steak. You can get the most unbelievable BLT. Their lunch menu is superb. And it's like unbelievable how good it is at the price for a lunch. It's like so good. And then it's fine dining. I mean, it's just beautiful in the evening. Sit out there on the water. Weather's great right now. If it's not too windy, just sit right out there on the back. They've done some stuff to the back deck. And that's gorgeous out there. Just sit out by the water. Well, how many places do you have in Central Texas that you could sit on the water and eat? I mean, they got that one place out there where Miller's Family Steakhouse used to be, but you got to like walk the plank to get out there to the water. You kind of barely see it from inside. That's a good place. Nothing wrong with that place. But I'm saying at Brazos Landing, they've got that sidebar, the kind of the alligator bar area. It's really fun, and you can be by the water, or you can go outside, out back, and be by the water. I mean, otherwise you can drive all the way out to Lake Belton somewhere, and maybe find some water out there. Or you can go by that tank at that Cajun place in town out there in Robinson. I think they got a little tank by that place. But I like being on the Brazos River. It's fun. Kev, I did want to say the NFL is having the owners meetings, and they're going to try to get officials ready because they may have to use replacement officials. Oh, great. said the league would reallocate existing game day employees to ensure appropriate staffing levels to cover each game if a work stoppage activates these rule changes. NFL owners are, quote, alarmed about the state of negotiations, sources said over the weekend. And NFL Executive Vice President Jeff Miller said Tuesday the owners are, quote, insistent upon a new CBA that provides avenues to improve the state of NFL officiating. All right, we'll see where this goes. They also are going to change some of the replay stuff. At least one element of the foul called is not present. They said fouls eligible for this alert include twisting, pulling, or turning the face mask, roughing the passer, intentional grounding, horse collar tackles, illegal contact, pass interference, and disqualification. Those are all things that an alert could come down from the guys in the booth on replay. So in 2019, the NFL conducted a one-year experiment that subjected pass interference to replay review. The effort bogged down amid a muddled standard for overturning an on-field decision. In Tuesday's approved rule, the competition committee limited league staff members' involvement only to circumstances where, quote, there was inadvertent tangling of feet when both players were playing the ball or neither player was playing the ball. All right. I'll get you more. There's some kicking stuff that's come out today. I'll read through it because some of it's a little bit, there's too much. There's a whole lot of verbiage and a lot of things they talked about. I'll get you what I think is fairly important by tomorrow. Reminder, boy, the Brazos Landing. I'd love to go over there this very afternoon. It looks like we'll get Fran Fraschilla tomorrow to talk about the Final Four. He's doing the NIT, so we'll ask him a little bit about the NIT, but we'll talk about the Final Four. I'll ask him a couple of questions maybe about Baylor and see if he has any thoughts on kind of the future of Baylor moving forward. All I can tell you since our conversation with Scott Drew last week, I think we're going to get some good news. We'll watch tomorrow night. Baylor will play in the Crown. We'll react to it Thursday. And then in the coming days, Baylor's going to have, they're going to look at some things. And then, of course, they'll get ready for the portal and everything that comes with that. All right. Right after the Final Four, portal comes open, and then everybody's going to have to get hot and heavy into that world. I will have some good news for you. All right. And I'm not going to get too far into it, but I just think there's going to be some really cool things that are happening, and you're going to feel more secure and excited about Baylor basketball moving forward. One of those things happened today. She doesn't have anything to do with it. Kevin is putting up a picture of Dan Hurley's mom. Kevin, why are we getting
I
Dan
figured
Hurley?
that's how everybody should be feeling right now with this news that you are leaving hanging there.
Oh, mad, holy.
Just beside themselves, excited about the potential of what may happen.
But
holy
bleeping S. But Kev, as you know, I have been asked to kind of stand down in some areas. All right. And I don't. I'm not good at that. I'm not good. If I have something to share with you, I'm going to share it. I always try to do that. But I'm just saying there's some exciting things ahead. Not only some of the players are going to go after, but I think, but for now, Kev, let's let this staff and the great members of this staff, let's let them do their jobs. Let's do their jobs. There was something happened the other day, Kev, that's made me sad. This is the time of the show that I share. Let's call this Things That Make Mosley Sad. Things that make Mosley get to the verge of tears. Kevin, Alvin Brooks III is not returning to Kentucky. He left to take the job at Kentucky. Scott Drew turned him down. Then they hired Mark Pope. But then they took one of our great associate head coaches. We had already lost John Jacobs. Then we lost AB, Alvin Brooks III. And it just felt like everybody was leaving us, right? And then Nunes just disappears during the season. Still don't have a great feel for what happened there. I just know Coach New will be back, and he'll be back in a big way. Not to Baylor, perhaps, but wherever he goes, Coach New is too good of a coach to keep down. Kentucky, who loves to scapegoat people, has scapegoated Alvin Brooks III. You want to know about Alvin Brooks III? You want to know why VJ Edgecombe came to Baylor and played that and is now lottery pick? Alvin Brooks III. Okay, so Kentucky. If you don't like him bringing in great players, or you needed to blame somebody for your sort of down season, which wasn't that bad, that's fine. Blame AB3. But, boy, we'd love to have him back. I mean, think about all the Baylor people who've been fired this year. I mean, Jerome Tang, fired. AB Alvin Brooks III, fired. Come on home. We love you guys. Any of you, man. Now, John Jacobs, he's gonna get FAU humming, and in fact, he was retaining some of those players. He's doing a great job trying to bring some of those talented players back. So I think he and his crew are going to stay right where they are and do great things. But Baylor is going to flip it, and Baylor will get back to being Baylor in basketball. All right, this is not going to be like Indiana, hanging out in the wilderness for years. Sorry, Kev. I don't know why that came to mind. Maybe because I work with you each and every day. Kevin will be very sad. Kevin will be back tomorrow. Kevin has some tennis duties Thursday. I do believe the Z-Man will be in with us Thursday. But tomorrow, I think we'll have Fran Fraschilla. We'll have more from the NFL owners meetings. It'll be a big to-do. Appreciate everybody who's been a part of this one. It is the Mosley Show. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock straight up.
As part of Central National Bank's partnership with Baylor Women's Basketball, we asked Coach Collin to take a shot at improving the efficiency of our drive-thru.
The lane is open! Drive the lane! Attack the lane! Go! 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 Go!
We have a few kinks to work out.
Is this what you had in mind when you invited her?
No. I think you should say something to her.
Me?
Let's make Craig do it.
Okay, yeah.
You're gonna take this canister and you're gonna shoot it up.
Be all right. Be all right. Just be confident. Hey, Coach. Can I have a word with you?
Craig, not right now. I'm with a customer.
Okay.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Everybody at Equalife really has a passion and a real interest in helping people feel well. How much further can we go to get you feeling even better? It is a complete partnership between the two of us.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops made clean, made to clean.
It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration. They have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NordVPN.com.